Hey, what's up guys? Ripley here. Welcome back to my new series called Rainbow Six Siege Brain Training. This is episode 2. Episode 1 was just an introduction. I wanted to tell you guys the series was coming and kind of tell you what it was going to be about and contain. This is the first episode where I'm actually going to be teaching you some stuff to help you improve the game and think about. The topics for today are aiming, reflex time, fundamentals, and automation. I wanted to start with these topics because they're probably the most sought out topics when players want to improve at the game. Also, they're foundational, so it's a good point to start from. A couple things I want to tell you about before we get into the episode is on my Twitter, I've been doing daily bits. They're little informational quotes or training bits that I put out every day. Some of you may have seen them. You can find them on Twitter with hashtag RipleyBits. People have been liking them, and I like the feedback that I've been getting, so thank you for that. Those of you that don't know about them, though, make sure to follow me on Twitter. That way you can see those. Hopefully there'll be something you can enjoy if you're looking for Siege-related quotes or just things to think about when improving your game, just to keep you focused and motivational. The other thing is the 6 Invitational started today, which is probably the biggest competition that Rainbow Six has right now. Super exciting event. I went to the last one and it was really fun. Great to see all the teams compete and see what they do and see all the competition and news that they release for the next season and everything. They're going to be doing that again this year. Like I said, it started today. I've already watched one of the matches and it was really good. So make sure you guys tune into the stream on Twitch or on YouTube to watch those games and show your support for Rainbow Six Siege. It's a really good event, and if you can ever make it there, make sure you try it because it's definitely worth it. But that's all I had for the kind of intro to this video. Let's get right into it. Hope you guys enjoy. Alright, so our first topic today is aiming, and I wanted to start with that because it's probably the most sought out skill for first-person shooters. I mean, of course, everybody wants to be able to aim well, and it is a critical part of first-person shooters. So I just wanted to kind of talk about what you can do to improve your aim, the kind of mental processes and drills that you can go through, and what it takes to have good aim. So having the ability to aim well is kind of made up of 2 things. There's the hardware settings and game software settings portion of it, and then the mental and physical training portion. And expanding on that, what I mean is you want to have a good mouse, you want to have a good keyboard, you want your hardware to be solid and something that is comfortable for you to use and works well for the game you're playing. You want to have your in-game sensitivity set properly. You want to have a proper FOV because you can only react to what you can see on your screen, obviously. There isn't really a magic number for sensitivity settings or anything like that, but you can obviously talk to other players or research what pros have for settings, and that works for some people. There's numerous sensitivity settings videos out there. Kickstar's being one of the more popular ones. I personally don't mess with the in-game files because I didn't need to, but the rule of thumb is when aiming, you want to have a steady aim. So if you notice when you're shooting at other players, your crosshairs are kind of bouncing all over the place. It's kind of hard to get a dead-on aim. You might want to lower your sensitivity settings. That's kind of a key tell of having too high of a sensitivity, but you also want to be able to make those snaps and whip around, so you need to find the sweet spot. So make sure you do your research, play around with your DPI, play around with your sensitivity settings, talk to other people, and find yourself a good baseline. I did make a settings video that explained what I use for all my in-game settings for sensitivity and key bindings and all that. I'll put a card up in the top right so you guys can watch that if you want to and see what I use. But there are a lot of other videos out there. So this is kind of just the first part. Now we kind of move on to the mental and physical training portion. So another critical part of aiming is obviously your eyes, your vision. You want to make sure that you have the best vision possible. So if you wear contacts or glasses, you want to make sure that you're wearing those when you're playing, even though they might be uncomfortable. You want to have the best vision that you can so that you can aim properly. This is kind of an obvious thing, but I have to include it just so you guys know. There's also a number of vision drills that you can put yourself through before you start your practice routine, one of which is exercising your eyes. So if you jump into a custom game or a T-hunt, what you'll want to do is choose an object that's close to you and one that's far away, and switch focus about every 10 seconds on those two objects back and forth. This will kind of exercise your eyes and warm yourself up. And then once you start your practice routine, another technique you can do is called the quiet eye technique. This is something that's used in a lot of physical sports that require good hand-eye coordination. What you'll do is run a T-hunt on easy, that way you don't have many problems. And as you run through that T-hunt, focus on your target, which is obviously the terrorist's head, for about 1 second. Consciously do this, and then shoot. And just do this over and over and over, and this will really warm up your aim. And then as you move into your practice schedule, you'll have a good head start. Crosshair placement is a key element to aiming. It's probably the largest area that I see medium to low level players failing at. High level players and pros already have this down. It's natural, it's automated. So this is something that you definitely want to train and make sure you have down until it's natural. And the reason is it's going to set you up for success and reduce the amount of times that you have to snap to somebody's head, saving you time in a gunfight, especially in a game that has a one headshot mechanic. So to train this, you're going to want to make sure that you're consciously keeping your crosshairs at head level and training this over and over. Of course, it's going to detract from your gameplay at first, but after so much repetition, it's going to become automated and natural, and you won't have to think about it anymore. You just want to make sure that you can get to that point. So aside from your regular training routine, which should be running T-hunt every time before you play, at least for a while, to help warm up your hand-eye coordination and your aim, there are other things that you can do to work into your practice routine that can help, such as training websites like mouseaccuracy.com or aimbooster.com, or even the luminosity training can be good to help warm up your hand-eye coordination and your brain before you play. Aim is just something that you have to consistently work at all the time to keep oiled. Over time, it will get easier and become more natural, but you have to keep working it to keep that skill level up. Alright, so our next topic is reaction time, and this is going to go hand in hand with aiming. This is also something a lot of people ask about, and I just wanted to cover it. This is also a two-parter, just like aiming, meaning reaction speed is dependent on two things, and that is diet and practice or training. Believe it or not, generally everybody has the same reaction speed. There's just minor differences up or down between person to person. You can improve it with training and diet. Different things affect reaction speed as well, such as age or genetics, like degenerative diseases. Your reaction speed does start dropping in about your late 30s, and then in your 40s it starts to drop more, and then your 50s, when your body really starts to deteriorate, it starts dropping even more. But you can maintain your reaction speed with training and diet all the way up to your 50s. Believe it or not, there's been research done that proves this, so that is good news. Diet being probably the largest part of this, you want to make sure that you eat lots of foods that contain the right fats or fatty acids, like from plants, the plant kind instead of the animal kind. There are some exceptions, such as certain fish have the right fatty acids that you need, or zeaxanthin is a chemical that's in colored fruits and vegetables, or paprika, that also helps keep your brain healthy. This keeps your neurons firing at a healthy and performing rate, allowing that information that your eyes process to your motor functions quickly. That's why you want to make sure you have a good diet. It affects your reaction time immensely and also helps you maintain it. You also want to do training to keep your reaction time up. basically you want to try and train off of visual stimuli and cues, because people will react faster if they're trained to react to something specific. So if you are waiting for somebody to peek and playing video games, that kind of visual cue is what you're trained to react to, versus somebody trying to react to swinging a bat and hitting a baseball. So you want to try and predict what you're going to be looking at and then react, and this will train your brain over time to improve at reacting to that visual stimuli and help keep your reaction time maintained. Also, things affect reaction time like your mental load before you come into a game. So if you come into a game fresh with a clear mind, you're going to have a faster reaction time because your cognitive load is a lot less. If you come into a game with a lot of stress or a lot of things on your mind, your reaction time is going to be subpar and you'll probably notice. So that's pretty much it for reaction time. Alright, so our next two topics are fundamentals and automation. I'm going to try and cover these quickly because I don't want these videos to go on for too long, but starting with fundamentals, these are basically the building blocks and foundation of being able to play the game well. These are things you're going to want to take the time to learn and train and have down before you kind of start on your road to playing competition or having just a high level of play in general. I made a series called Pro Tactics. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it already. Some of you may have not seen it. This whole series was based on basically the fundamentals of Rainbow Six and teaching players the basics and how to have a good foundation for moving into a higher level of play. You're gonna gain fundamental knowledge from just playing the game, putting hours into the game, watching competition, watching YouTube videos and streams, and learning from other players. Things that are fundamentals are droning, callouts, your movement, map knowledge, aiming, of course, the roles, and just having a basic game sense. So what you're going to want to do is make sure you're training these fundamentals. Look for failures in your fundamental abilities and work on them. So kind of take a look at your own gameplay, take notes, see what you're failing at, and set yourself up a goals list on what you want to work on. Maybe work on one or two things at a time until you have it down and it becomes automated or natural, and then move on to something else. And over time, you'll just add those things to kind of your skill library, and before you know it, you'll have them all down and they'll all just be automated and natural, and that's what you want. As for automation, this is a term you've probably heard me say a lot, especially in this episode, and I'll continue to say it, but that's because it's important. Automation is when you train a task so that it's become an automatic thing. It just happens. Basically, like when you do something and don't have to think about it. A good example is what happens when you get a kill in the game. You probably just reload after you get the kill. This is just an automated thing that we've kind of trained ourselves to do. It's a bad habit because you can get caught with yourself reloading and somebody could peek you and it's detrimental, but it's a good example for something that's automated. What you want to do is try and automate as many of the fundamentals of the game as you can. Things like crosshair placement, droning, callouts, map knowledge, that type of stuff. It should just be natural. It should just happen without you having to really think about it. And then you can leave the rest of your brain to processing information like variables within the match, such as the other team's compositions, their strategies that they're using, counters to those strategies, and making changes in between the round. This is just going to make playing at a high level a lot easier on your brain because the fundamentals are automatic and you can focus on the variables. So that's why automation is key, and that's why you want to make sure that you practice your fundamentals until they are automated. Alright, well that pretty much sums up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned some good information. If you have any questions, make sure to leave a comment down below, that way I can reply. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, that way you can see future content as well. I also stream live on twitch.tv/Ripley555 if you have any questions and want to ask me live. I stream 4 times a week and I'm pretty available. So feel free to pop in the stream and ask me any questions you might have. I'm really excited about this series and I'm really happy that you guys are here. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.